Hello there, I'm Nu-Trix, and today we're looking into a new synthesizer. It's called Elastic OSC, or Elastic Oscillator. It's for the iPad, it's for the iOS. It's a bit different because it has 24 different synth engine. Let me say that again. It has inside it the option of selecting one of 24 different synthesis engine. This is really interesting. So it has what we expect from most synthesizers, but it's a bit different because when we switch engines, the options of control changes. Let's just go right into it. You'll hear, you'll understand. Bottom, you've got the normal stuff that you find. You've got attack, decay, sustain, release. That's the volume envelope, the amplifier envelope. And you have a choice of polyphonic or monophonic. Arpeggiator, the mode, different mode. What's interesting is the last one is chords. You have the rate, of course, the octave. And what's interesting is the skip. In this case, skip 3 or 4 is going to play 4 notes, 4 steps, and then it's going to skip one and again. So it creates new or a different rhythm, which is interesting. So something we don't see often. Now, on that section over here, you have distortion, filter, modulation, delay, and reverb. Now, filter is always going through the system. You don't have an amount of it. You can turn it off or on. But it's a filter that goes from low pass to full to high pass. So we get the two in the same one. Modulation, delay, reverb, distortion, they have the volume at the bottom here. So distortion mix, modulation mix, delay, and reverb. Modulation is, when you click on it, you go, okay, it's chorus. And you click on mode, you switch to phaser. And on most of them, you have two things. You've got the control of XY here, so 2 values. And it tells you it's in distortion. And on the side, you've got a slider that, in the case of distortion, you're going to different distortions. You hear it? It's crushing. So this effect goes before the filter. So distortion goes before the filter because you can then filter it out. So really logic in the synthesis type of approach. Then modulation, if you add phaser with a lot of feedback. Or you have a chorus. And then sometimes you say, well, what is these? How am I like depth? And so as you move this, you see up and down, it tells you that this is depth. And as you move this left and right, it tells you that this is rate. So you get the speed and you get. But if you want to remember what these are, and sometimes you forget how it works, you click on this little question mark at the top, and it tells you chorus, you get the depth and the rate. You switch to filter, it tells you it's a low pass, high pass. Distortion, oh, you have model here, the different models that you have here. Go modulation. Oh, feedback tells you that it's a feedback here. This as well. It's written feedback. Delay, you get the delay time feedback. And oh, you have spread. So you go from mono to stereo. And reverb, you have time, feedback, input, and spread. Now, in the other section here, you have the same logic of square axis, X and Y, to control your two values. Now, the 2 values that you control depends on the synthesis engine that you picked. Now, in this case, you've got a square wave and a sawtooth. And when you move these, you're controlling the shape of each of them. Click on harmonics. The other one is frequency, or pitch. You can also have at the bottom here control like a decay. For the modulation you have in this. Controls some part of the timbre. Bring that down. So that modulation you have here changes, because that's the decay for these. So FM. So this is how you want this thing to be long or not coming in. And so this changes because depending on the engine that you're picking, these will control different ways that the content of the engine works. Now, the engine, we said that you have left and right here. So you've got X and Y here. You also have the frequency and the harmonics, but you can push them here by pressing here. Now this is controlling the harmonics. Now this is controlling the octave. Now, of course, the octave is kind of weird to control like this. It's kind of hard to get it to control correctly, because what's interesting after that is you can actually, all the knobs you see here and the square, the two squares, you can record movement. You have at the top mod with a play and a recorder. So if I record this, I can actually move this. It's a bit too much. I understand it's too much. I also recorded this movement here. It closes. You can also record this if I want to. See, yeah, so we don't hear it because the reverb mix is down, but this is logic. You can do a lot of movement. I'm going to erase it. Clear the automation. But what's interesting is, let's say I'm recording something here. Soft movement. If I switch the morph here, the movement, I'm going to stop recording. The movement that I did record is for timbre and morph. And if I switch the information now, timbre is here and morph is here. So it follows the value and not the square, which is logic, because what you choose when you move it is you're changing that part of the sound. Now, if I'm going to the next one here, the timbre and the morph do not control the same thing, because now we're in wave shaping. If I go back to, most of the time, frequency is always octave and harmonics is always some type of harmonic content inside the sound. And so I'm going to go back here with... And if you want to know what it does, you click here. It says, okay, harmonics is the wave shaper waveform, and timbre is the amount of wave folder, and morph is the waveform asymmetry. So you're changing different parts of it. And aux, okay, what is aux? Well, aux tells you about what you have at the top here. You have A, B, AB plus, A plus B, A or B. What you have here is the output. A is the mono normal output of this. If you go into B, it's kind of the side product of what you're filtering out, or if you do a combination, what's coming out of the other end. So it's kind of a B output. The aux, auxiliary, the other output goes here in B. So you could listen just for the B. If you go back to A, that was the first sound we did earlier. So you got this weird other frequencies, whereas A is harmonics. You've got a little, you sync into this. You get the sync sound. You can also combine them. A plus B, or you can do some weird stuff by putting the A on one side and B on the other. with headphones, listen to this. It's just like, depending on what you have in the sound, it could be cool or weird or wicked. It depends on what the B is. So you have it here. It says that the aux is the sum of the two synced waveform and the shape, which is controlled by morph, and the tuning by harmonics. So it really changes the type of sound. It can even result in silence. So it really goes into what you want to do depending on the other one. So when you switch between those different synthesis, it tells you all the time what it is. You know, this is a 2-operator FM synthesis. So frequency ratio, modulation index, and get a feedback, and get an aux, which is a sub-oscillator, and FM. And two together, a bigger sound. Granular format, the frequency ratio between format 1 and 2, and the morph, and also an aux is a simulation of the filtered waveform. Five, you've got additive, you got the harmonics, the timbre, the morph, and again the aux. It's a very different sounding. So you have to do a lot of exploration, because you might go into, I'm going to do wavetable, but the B output could be completely different than the A. So what I do when I play around with it, when I try to make sounds, I often go into A-B mode with the slash. I've got A and B, and I hear both of them. And if I go, oh, the B one is very good, I might solo it going back to B and say, that's the one I want to hear. So that's kind of the logic here. 7, you've got chord change. So chord inversion and transposition. So this is weird, but this is fun. Granular cloud. Be really fun. Filtered noise. Particle density. String model. Model resonator. Bass drum. Snare. Hi-hat. So this is a virtual analog synthesizer, but it has its own filter. Instead of using the other filter, the one that is here, it uses the internal filter, this part, and you have a 24 and a 12 dB per octave that goes into the phase distortion. And then you've got 6-operator FM synthesis with different algorithms of combination. So we've got 1, 2, and 3. So different ways of. Then you get wave terrain. String machine. And chip tunes. So a lot of different options here, which is really cool. Let's just listen to some of the presets to give you ideas of what they did with it. In my case, some filter strings, you hear the movement. I was just playing around to really prove that the movement is cool. This one. So that's it. It's a weird one. It can do classic stuff like acid bass and all that stuff, but it just screamed to explore with it, because the A, the B, the A plus B, the A separated from B, the modulation, all that stuff is just like weird and fun. So just enjoy, try it, have fun with it. That's it. Stay safe, make music, and see you soon. Cheers.